probably wondering what I'm doing in Florida when MegaCon isn't even on for another 2 weeks. Simple fact is I'm here visiting cosplayers, photographing them as they work on their costumes, or as they go to fabric stores, or whatever they do to do what they do for cosplay, you know. If you guys don't know, I'm actually working on a book. I'm traveling the country, photographing people. This week I am in Orlando. Next week I'm in Kansas City. Week after I'm in
a half mile.
In a half mile.
Take exit 33 before Senior 408 West.
You don't wanna be apart.
Like a wavy?
Yeah.
This one. And of course you see a different color.
This one right here, this wig color is actually, you know, perfect for the character, but it's not perfect for my skin tone. It's
right.
just kind of like, it's too strong colors.
Right.
Even though it's brown, it's still strong. So you try to find something that can actually match to it. This might be something like a little bit darker, but this will actually work a lot better than the lighter blonde as you see here. How am I going to do this? And I did have a sewing machine during the time, which is actually my sister's. It's the best borrowing I ever had for the past 10 years now. Because she didn't really want to sew it. I was like, do you think I can borrow this? She's like, sure. Never gave it back. So, yep, since then actually I've been learning from different people how to be faster, how to cut patterns, how to make my own patterns. To the point where my mom saw me at work just doing this, and she was just like, you're definitely better than me now, because I did buy the books. So the fact that she was like, you're making your own patterns, you're actually altering certain things, it was very exciting to hear her say that, because I was just like, I can't believe I surpassed. I was able to actually judge at MegaCon 2011. So they told me that, hey, you know, your whole Saturday is going to be gone. Are you okay with this? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, I've been going for how long now? I think I'm fine. You know, so when that happened, actually, I was able to see other people that I knew going into it. I was able to judge their costumes. Some were very surprised because at the same time, you know, I'm a male and I'm actually a black male, so they don't really think that I really did sew. So when they saw me, they're like, "You're the judge?" "Yeah, I'm the judge." "How'd you make your costume? What scene did you use? What machine did you use? Because that's pretty pro right there." And they were just like, "I didn't know you could sew. How long have you been sewing?" I'm like, "Dude, for a long time."
It was pretty cool. It was big. So my first thing was like, wow, this is huge. And just the amount of people that dressed up, I just couldn't believe it. It was amazing. And I did my first cosplay characters. I did Sweeney Todd. Was the one day, and then I did Mad Hatter on Saturday and Sunday, and people would come up to you and be like, "Oh my gosh, like Mad Hatter," and they want to hug you and they want pictures with you, and it was just crazy. I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, they recognize that character and they love the character, so they see you as that character.
A year ago, we discovered, yeah, we call it FAST, which stands for Far Away Sewing Place. It's called the Sewing Studio, and it's like this tiny little store, and you would have no idea that it's like, it's as big as it is. So we went in there one time, and we were like just overwhelmed with the amount of fabric we had to choose from. Because Durant's it's nice, but it's got like the basics, you know, you've got like the cottons and like the weird like quilted prints and stuff like that. Yeah, a little bit of like lycra, but this store has like literally an entire wall of like spandex, and we were so excited.
Wall of spandex.
Exactly.
Poor sewing machine. It's technically corsets. Like, I don't know those words like I was before.
A brand new life. A brand new life. I was born to eliminate any of your mistakes. All the big rocks, put it on my way, didn't cost me to forsake.
Echo Arthur. Say hi. You want to say hi?
So this is kind of like Radio Shack on crack, except in the 80s?
Yeah, this is the coolest store, and it's really weird. All these stores around the country are just going away. And it's one of the few that they still exist. And Orlando's so lucky to have it.
They're not worth it. Change to me.
It's a really good deal.
No big deal.
looks like the Israeli model, but I'm not exactly sure.
Turn left onto Carrier Drive, then turn right.
A castable wig.
Castable wig.
Yeah, you actually can wear this. It's like a full
awesome
Vegeta wig. Obviously some touch-ups and some repairs, and this was the first one we ever made. But basically all we gotta do is pour latex, switch it around, and we got a wig in. Most of my sewing's right there.
Yeah.
And my wife's right up there. My armor is, some of it's here. A lot of it is up my attic.
Oh wow, wait.
Yeah, in all honesty, I feel like it's because we're so big and there's so many people here. So maybe that's why, but there's conventions of everything. We have comic book conventions, and there's almost a convention every weekend here.
Yeah, it feels like it.
It's crazy. Sometimes we have like 3 or 4 anime conventions in the same weekend.
Brand new life.
Awesome. Maybe not in front of people.
Yeah, performance.
I was born to eliminate any of your mistakes.
Well, this is all Warbler, the horns.
Mm-hmm.
And the mask itself is actually Warbler too. And then we bought a latex mask.
Mm-hmm.
And actually I still have to do some modifications to it because it's a little thicker than it needs to be around the face.
Right.
But basically I attached the latex to the Warbler to make it get that, you know, the actual realistic look, and then I wear a wig.
You guys are pretty new at cosplay, and yet you're doing stuff like this?
Well, we've been...
Let me guess, you guys were making things already, but you just didn't know that you could actually make it for a costume.
Right.
You know.
We started off LARPing.
Okay.
And we've made... And I used to make swords for people, because I was really good at making props. I made swords and armor.
Yeah.
And eventually we started going to conventions with our friends, and then we were like, oh, this cool costumes, I could do that. And before you know it, we're doing it.
Well, what did was Dragon Con. We went to
Dragon Con. Okay, what year did you guys go to Dragon Con?
2011 was our...
So, like, so you found out through them. They're the one that actually, these two.
They're the ones that introduced me to cosplay.
So basically you can blame everything on these two people right here.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, I blame you too.
I will take that one. So when I first met Cheryl, I would come over a couple times. You know, we would work on stuff, watch TV together, and she had happened to mention that she was working on a costume for Nazi. I'm like, okay, well, what's the costume for? And she started talking to me about cosplay, and I'd heard about it, but I wasn't really familiar with it. And she's like, I have to cut out all these little pieces for the leather work, and I'm like, what is this nonsense that she's working on? What is this stuff? And then I was just telling him last night, you know, 1 year later, what is this nonsense that I'm working on?
Nice. So this is your workshop?
Yes.
Woohoo! Wow. So I have to ask, how long have you been doing this?
God, I've been putting this shop together for 5 years.
5 years.
I've been doing cosplay since 2001. When I started, it was before digital cameras. So, I mean, people would scan pictures and put them up online. So, cosplay online really wasn't that common. It wasn't until digital cameras started coming out and the internet started getting popular that sites like cosplay.com and Cosplay Lab started popping up, and people were like, oh, hey, you know, I can upload my pictures online, meet people outside of conventions, which was unheard of before then. I mean, there were mailing lists, there was LiveJournal, but nothing really out there picture-wise.
It moved in a gradual sense, but at some point there was a point where you probably looked around and said, okay, this has really changed.
Yeah. When I took my break in 2008 and then came back in 2010,
yeah,
like, because it was so gradual, I didn't really notice. It was just always something that was kind of there.
Yeah.
And I noticed, oh, there's, you know, a flare-up over here, something's mad at each other. And then when I came back, I was like, oh my god, this is a completely different scene than I left 2 years ago.
Wow.
I didn't know what happened, I didn't recognize it. Facebook had changed everything. It was crazy how quickly it exploded, how many new people there were, and how many people I knew that were in it before that were just kind of not in it anymore. I mean, I started with sci-fi, got really big into anime, but I mean, I just can't keep up with so much of it.
Morning.
Hey, Christine.
Right?
8 years for me and longer for Kevin.
These are all yours or his, or they're all thrown together?
They're all thrown together.
They're all thrown together. Wow.
This is actually cardstock, and I just continually wrapped paper
Around it, hair around it, over and over and over.
Use this wig again for something else. I sewed in snaps, that way I can just take off the backside.
Snap, snap.
Yeah, exactly. Just snap them on and off.
A trophy from a convention?
Yeah.
Really? They make a trophy this big for conventions?
Yep. This was Kevin's best in show. Probably like 2000.
Okay, this is basically the biggest trophy I've ever seen given at a convention, because usually they give plaques or smaller things.
So basically, we're not like most cosplayer couples. I mean, she doesn't do any of my sewing, I don't do any of her prop work. We're very independent.
Yeah, we keep that separate.
Yeah, we each do our own things, we each have our own supplies that we work with.
Yeah, I noticed you guys had spray paint, but you have your own box?
Those are my spray paints. Like, we do share some of the bigger tools, but overall, like, I have my small set of tools and he has his. I even have my secret drawer that he supposedly doesn't know about. Like, my secret drawer was compromised recently though, and he used my tools, so I have to find a new hiding spot.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to touch it under penalty of, you know, beating. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you're totally fine with that.
Yeah. Just like, oh, more sabers? Okay. But yeah, it's definitely well known in, like, the fandom. I found out, like, the thing that really made me say yes to finally doing it was the fact that Werbla came out. I had tried Wonderflex and Craft Foam before, but, like, I never really got the hang of it. But I figured this is, like, the simplest thing. You just heat it up and sculpt it, and it has really worked out for me. So, Werbla is like a lifesaver.
Pretty stressed, but I'm okay. I'm not doing any competitions or groups, so if I don't get something done, I don't get it done.
I've been doing this for like 10 years. I've been into costumes, characters. I've been so hardcore nerd since I was like out of the womb. You know, even my mom bought me Superman pajamas so I could have a Superman costume as like a 3-year-old.
Geez, like 5 or 6 years, I want to say. I started going to cons when I was 14, and then the following year when I was 15, I started cosplaying.
First con?
I think my first costume, well, first con, that's a good question. I don't remember. I want to say MegaCon.
How old were you? 10?
I don't even remember now. It's been a while. Like, sometimes I forget I've been doing it as long as I have.
I've learned how to communicate with people better, really. I used to be really shy, and then I started cosplaying and meeting a bunch of different people, and I kind of opened up. But you can learn so much from cosplaying. It's insane.
How do costumers feel about people actually making costumes? Like on a, almost like a...
I did it backwards.
You did it backwards?
Did. Not backwards, but I mean like some of the scenes are inside and the others are outside. So I made pants for a guy with a 36-inch waist. These are intense. These will work.
Will they?
Yeah.
It was just so fun pretending to be someone else. I was always that kid. If there was a themed party or something, I was always first in line, you know, with a costume. That graduated to Renaissance festivals. You know, that was a long time ago, but I started with Renaissance festivals and dressing up for that. The Anne Rice community. There was a big, you know, New Orleans vampire. There was a big masquerade she would throw every year, and I was a big part of that. And that would probably be, oh God, that was 97, 98. That was probably the first cosplay I'd actually ever done. Was Lucy and Vlad from Dracula, and then it just
spiraled after that.
It spiraled, yeah. You just go right down the abyss, and you know, we got married, and it's for someone like her.
But you've gone to anime conventions, I assume, like Metro, AWA.
I've been to, what was it, AFO?
Yeah,
AFO.
AFO once as a chaperone for her.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the one fandom that I don't get into is anime, just because I just don't understand it. That's just me personally.
You have to turn your brain off to understand it, that's all.
Well, she's into anime, she wanted to go, and I told her I would chaperone her. So last year was my first. My son and I are going to be costuming together.
Gur.
Oh, yes. Yes, he's doing Gur,
Yeah.
I'm doing Invader Zim. So I just...
Gur.
Since when?
Hey, I don't like Gur! You are Gur. Say!